named after The Outsider's character Ponyboi Curtis, but with the spelling of B-O-I after the queer slang for an androgynous person, began life as a 2019 short film of the same name, written, directed, and starring intersex non-binary person River Gallo. River Gallo's parents are from El Salvador, so I believe it is Gallo and not Gallo. As the titular Ponyboi, a New Jersey sex worker dreaming of a more fulfilling life outside of the city, who decides to pursue an attractive cowboy. It was adapted into a darker crime drama directed by Esteban Arango, a neo-noir take on the grittiness of New Jersey.
We reached out to many different directing candidates to interview, and Esteban he got the story on so many different levels of my intersecting identities. He just had such a strategic plan to collaborate and to bring this story to life, and also to honor my story and my vision as an artist as well. And we just worked together, and it was just so wonderful.
Ponyboi is the best narrative intersex film that I've run across. Unfortunately, it is yet to be made available to the public. You're only able to see it if you're lucky enough to see it at film festivals. I was lucky enough to see it at the Seattle Queer Festival of 2024. And basically no footage has been released to the public. I only have the original short film to clip and a few promotional stills. I'll do the best I can, but bear with me. The film focuses on Ponyboi as an intersex ingenue, a former resident of suburban Point Pleasant who was thrown out by their homophobic father and became a city-dwelling sex worker. Though nominally attempting to present as masculine, they find a niche of presenting as a trans woman for sex work and are largely perceived as female. Fellow sex worker Angel is an archetypal naive cis woman in love with the toxically masculine pimp Vinny, who exploits them for his own gain. When Vinny decides to sell crappy meth that kills people, Ponyboi sees an out and tries to rip off the mafia and pursue an attractive cowboy at the same time. In attempting to escape their claustrophobic circumstances, they allow themselves to explore their gender identity. The portrayal of Ponyboi's gender and sex is handled tactfully with a layer of ambiguity as to how they identify. We get the sense of their sexual composition throughout the film, and understand through their traumatic flashbacks and interactions with others that they were assigned male at birth, but due to being intersex, must take testosterone to fulfill that gender presentation, while simultaneously identifying more with the feminine and going to lengths to limit the masculinizing effects of that hormone. They don't assert a particular gender identity or preferred pronouns, but there is an interesting portrayal where characters will call them she/her when holding them in high esteem, and he/him when treating them scornfully, holding up Ponyboi the girl as an innocent beauty, while leaning into the idea of Ponyboi the man as a deceptive and malicious trans woman when that narrative suits their enemies. There's an interesting exchange between Ponyboi and a pharmacy clerk when they're trying to get testosterone. The clerk thinks that they're a trans woman, and Ponyboi must explicitly state that they're intersex. The clerk, shocked, asks, "Like a hermaphrodite?" Ponyboi looks annoyed in response. This is a conversation that probably wouldn't happen in reality. Most people don't know what intersex is, so you have to say intersex, hermaphrodite, forcing yourself to say the slur to communicate. What the movie does is pretend that it's common knowledge what intersex means, while communicating what it means to an ignorant audience by putting the slur in the mouth of an unlikable character. It's a clever way to handle that. The director has an interesting portrayal of New Jersey as a stimulating but claustrophobic urban environment. Both the beauty and ugliness of city filth is put into sharp focus. We can understand why Ponyboi might want to leave, while at the same time, the urban sprawl seems so immense that it's hard to imagine a world beyond it. It reminds me a lot of Gotham from the Batman series. What's interesting is that when Ponyboi returns to their childhood home in the suburbs, it's brighter and cleaner, but muted and just as claustrophobic as the urban environment. It gives a sense of urgency for Ponyboi to escape and go follow their dreams. Also, this is just my speculation, but based on the shots we see of River Gallo's hometown in the 2023 Intersex documentary Everybody, it looks like the hometown of Ponyboi might have been shot in the hometown of River Gallo and not Point Pleasant.
Esteban, what was one of the first things you asked River as you were deciding to take it on?
Take me to New Jersey. Show me around. I need to get to know you, to get to know Jersey. You know, I'm not intersex, I'm not queer, so I needed to just connect at a human level and find that common ground. It's essential to care about what you're making in order to make it right.
And if anything, this is my love letter to New Jersey. And I think the most important loves in our lives, they're complicated and they're messy. And once you realize that, like, it's actually the place that makes you who you are, and who you are is beautiful in its organic and raw form. Making this movie transcended my understanding of so many different parts of my identity. And I realized that, you know, I will always be a ride or die Jersey girl, and that it made me who I am.
There is an interesting use of color, with red and blue filters in some of the sexier scenes. It reminds me of the lesser intersex film Bruno and Erlene Go to Vegas, in which red and blue are used to represent the binary sexes, with purple as the intersex state. This film doesn't go as far as to combine them and make purple, but I have to wonder if the director was thinking along the same lines. There's a lot of good, meaty gender portrayals here. Angel gets a good feminist arc as a mistreated woman who becomes empowered. Vinny is the poster child for toxic masculinity, and we can see how it makes his life worse. Ponyboi both has a feminist story about being mistreated as a woman and coming to empowerment, and has a story about learning to be a man in a non-toxic way, countering the example of their father. At the same time, the father shows complexity, both displaying toxic and nurturing traits.
We'd go to the Boardwalk Arcade and we'd win Knock Off My Little Ponies.
Oh, that's quite a collection you got there.
Bruce, Ponyboi's cowboy love interest, is the kind of man that Ponyboi's father wanted them to be, and he's both ruggedly masculine and ambiguously queer. It's all very compelling. The best part of the film, in my opinion, is the way it offers authentic intersex representation. Based on River Gallo's appearance in Everybody, I know that Ponyboi's own story is based on River Gallo's, so it's authentic intersex storytelling.
It was difficult because it was a very vulnerable, and still is a very vulnerable part of my identity. But I know as an activist that, like, it's important for me to take that pain in stride and to educate people either in conversation or with a film. Like, this film is, you know, why I'm here in the world.
River is an exceptional human being. I felt immediately, like, just so excited about what they were going to create, the place that they create from, wanting to be a part of that, because I believe in the difference that art can make in the world. And the most interesting stories are the stories that haven't been taught yet, the stories that dip into the conversations that people are uncomfortable to have.
Intersex people watching it can see themselves in this character, and it could be really impactful to young intersex people who otherwise don't get representation. They don't see themselves in media, so they don't feel real in the same way that other people do. It could be a really emotional experience for someone.
There's tremendous weight to this moment. You know what I mean? Like, this is a huge moment for a very widely unrepresented community in the intersex community. So this is. I mean, me and River were talking about it yesterday. Like, we were saying, like, you know, they grew up, like, not seeing, you know, anyone, even in their personal world, like, being able to identify what was going on to them, why were they were being taken to these appointments, what was happening to these doctors, you know what I mean? And, like, the fact that they are going to do that for so many people tonight is, like, a huge moment.
While the film has its flaws, I think Ponyboi is the most compelling intersex narrative film to me as an intersex American because it reflects real life. Ponyboi doesn't get a miraculous gender transition after being visited by an ancestral god, as does Neptune and Neptune Frost. They must deal with drugs and makeup as they struggle to suss out their gender. And they don't find empowerment while simultaneously being forced to assume a gender role. like Eric Scheenegger and Eric and Erica. They have the freedom to explore their own identity. It is an excellent film, and I hope to one day own it on DVD. Physical media is dying out, and it's very important to keep it around for media preservation. Intersex films are widely inaccessible because they never made it to physical media, and they're just not available on streaming. We need films to come out on DVD to be passed down to the other generations. The short film is free on YouTube, and I'll include the link in the description. If you want to support these reviews, please donate to my Patreon. I only ask for $2 from each person, and every patron gets early access to the videos.